And also, Andrew wants to have a 1v1 with Ayla and Candace. Well,
for what?
not a shoot. Not a shoot. He wants to have like a debate. If you're down.
I do not like his debate norms because I don't trust him to be truth-finding. Seems more like horror. But I'm down for a truth-finding.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, okay.
No.
Just give me a descriptor for what truth is.
Oh, no.
Is truth subjective or objective?
Like, that's a great example.
Yeah, that great example of what?
Of your debate norms.
Yeah, of us clarifying debate norms?
Yeah. I think I'm mostly interested in finding out what's going on instead of, like, trying to do public battle. I think you relate to debate as public battle, which makes sense to do.
Sometimes. It
but
depends.
I don't think I really have that.
If you're looking for just pure fact-finding or fact versus fact, I'm happy to do those too. You can do what's called a formal or time debate, where you can match facts against facts. I just think your facts are wrong, and I can demonstrate that via debate. If you prefer a less adversarial form of debate, then we would do a formal debate, which would be
like to know if I'm wrong.
You could put your facts up, and then I could debunk them all.
I would like to know if I'm wrong. I would hope that you like to know if you're wrong, and then maybe we can like help each other figure out.
I'm never wrong. I'm a man. What's wrong with you?
Oh yeah, I apologize.
Never wrong. Never
Sorry,
wrong.
sir.
No, wrong. I'm wrong all the time. But in this case, your empirical data is really not good, and I would enjoy actually doing a debate on the empirical data that you put out as though it's actually good data. It's not good data.
Well, we can have further conversations and see if that can be arranged. But a couple things. Did you ever hear back from Special Forces?
I'm working on it. I got a couple of responses that I had.
Oh my goodness! How many people are slandering me? God,
a
man.
lot. Don't you go on the internet?
Great.
Do your due diligence. No.
Any responses though? Special Forces guy? Any
So now,
receipts?
now it's going around in circles. So.
What do you mean going around in circles?
Like I'm not getting a solid answer. So.
What do you mean not a solid answer?
Not a solid answer. So can you tell me the name of the person that made this claim, right? And then and then he said a name, and I was like, well, is that the person that showed up, or you got the information? Like, is this now like 3 degrees
like
away?
Sister of a sister of
instead
a sister,
of like what you said, which was 1 degree away. And then that's what I was.
When we do our due diligence, look at what happens. Suddenly with due diligence, the whole thing makes no sense.
Andrew, don't punish behavior that you want repeated. I'm openly trying to see if I'm wrong and willing to admit that and concede and apologize. So I don't need to be like it rubbed in.
I mean, we've been high on the concession but short on the apology.
Because I'm trying to get answers. You're the one that's like that's harping on due diligence. I'm trying to get details.
Like, how much more verification do you need then? Brian says it's looking. Hang on. Brian says not only is this factually untrue, but on top of it being factually untrue, you actually don't have a leg to stand on to even make the claims. It's secondhand information. You say I'll verify the claim, and then you go, well, they kind of giving me the runaround. It's like it just seems like it's a concession without the portion that matters, which is the accountability of policy.
I was asking clarifying questions. Because he said a name, and I'm not going to throw the wrong name under the bus. So that's what I was saying is I got one name, and I said, did this person, is he the one making the claim that he got rejected, or are you saying you got the story from him? Because I'm not going to say, oh, Bob is the one that came here, and you're like,
it's the
fuck
guy who
Bob.
killed Osama, right? Is it that guy?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. No.
I'll have him on the pod.
I don't want to throw the wrong person.
Like,
under
ladies,
the bus.
would you date the guy who killed Osama bin Laden?
No, it wasn't him.
Because he got a big cock.
It wasn't him. No, it was not him.
Lily.
Sorry, that was such a.
Get your mind out of the gutter. Damn, Lily.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what. How about maybe we can make a bargain so we can just move past this, right?
That'd be great.
If you are willing to apologize to Brian, right? Hang on. Apologize to him for the obvious slander, which was here without you doing your due diligence. But it turns out you are actually right. Okay, you're actually correct. Then I will apologize to you, and you won't even have to ask. I'll literally just put out a public apology.
Also,
how's that for fair?
I want to add, Andrew has never apologized to a woman ever in the history of.
That's how absolutely sure I am.
You will get his first. You will take his apology to a woman virginity.
Yeah.
It's not something that I want. It's not something that I
You
want.
want, trust me.
Do I do?
You want.
Yeah.
Like, you could put this shit on your resume.
So even then, with this consent, you still won't apologize, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, should we get the? Do you want to do the bow? Or are you going to do the bow? Or
I'll do the
can
bow.
we play the bow video really quick? I feel like it's important at this point.
Yeah, but the apologies actually, I feel like tenfold more painful, right? Because she just clearly does not want to apologize.
No, that's not at all.
She just doesn't want to.
No, that's not at all. You're absolutely putting words in my mouth. I didn't want to throw the wrong name under and say, oh, that was the person that came. Brian, I'm so sorry that I didn't do my due diligence, and I just took the gossip train and then made a video that got a lot of views and misrepresented
Wait,
you.
it got a lot of views? It got a lot of views? What the fuck?
That misrepresented you and your show.
Oh my God.
And I should have contacted you before making such a claim, because that is my responsibility.
How many views did it get?
Too many.
He forgives you if he's tagged.
Okay.
Before
I didn't know it got a lot
hit
of views.
upload. And I'm so sorry, Andrew, that my Indian editor put your name in there in the title.
Let's not bring Indians into this.
And because I didn't know that was going to happen.
Is he Native American or like?
No, like Indian from India.
I got a guy in Mexico.
You mean the guy who put my name in the title for the tweet?
For the clip,
Christian.
yes.
Yeah.
My editor is a Mexican, so I'll get you.
I have my name in the title.
I'll get you a Mexican
I'm fine
editor.
with that.
They're the best. What's up, Christian?
But next time I will reach out to the other person
reach out to me.
get the other side.
You gotta verify.
And I actually am sorry.
Trust but
Yes.
verify.
Yeah.
I accept your apology on condition that
That I
you
bow.
hit a bow. Pull up the clip. Damien, pull that up. This is a little background. This is a video I took of my ex-girlfriend. I came home, it was late, 1 a.m. after a podcast. And this is my ex-girlfriend. We'll just play the clip. Boom! Huge. Do you see the bow? Deep bow. That was a 45-degree angle. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then
Did you just kick her your socks?
Shoes, my shoes, and then she's doing my laundry. I'm hungry after the show, voracious appetite. So she made me some. She gets my beer too. She opened it up. The dinner's ready. I had to scold her about those tomatoes that are just tomatoes, but stirring the noodles. And yeah, play the bow one more time. Play the bow one more time. Let's just see the bow. Boom, huge bow. Yeah.
She did all that and you still broke up with her?
Yes, I dumped her. Because one time she didn't bow.
Oh my gosh.
So she got
That's
dumped.
a high bar.
It's a really high bar.
Don't slip up.
I have high standards, okay? I'm high maintenance.
Yeah.
Very high maintenance. So I think it would be appropriate for a little bow if you want to just do a little stand up.
Yeah.
In fact, every woman, if you also want to hit a bow, I will accept a bow. Okay.
Are you taking it in? You have to look at
You want me to look you in the eyes, look you deep in the eyes while you bow to me.
This is an intimate
Are you going to
moment.
hold the eye contact?
This is a really vulnerable. Well,
Is this
not
like
when
the?
I go down, right?
Is this?
then that's
Whoa,
gonna be...
hold on. You're married, okay? Calm down. Is this like the Karate Kid? Like eyes, always look eyes. So, the Karate Kid from the 80s though.
Okay.
Not the reboot. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay.
That was
Good. Thank you.
It was okay.
Okay.
I give it a B-.
Okay, I'll take a B-. It passes.
It was your
It's still a
it was
pass.
good. All right. What's up, Eric? You should bow. You know what? You go home, hit a bow to Eric. Mm-hmm. I think you'll do.
Just apologize to all men, honestly.
Every day.
Yeah, every day.
You didn't even do anything wrong. Like,
on behalf of women.
Eric, I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
I know I did something, or I'm going to do something, so I'll just, as a prophylactic, really.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Also, props. Admitting error is super cool and often hard to do. So,
Thanks. Yeah.
I think that's neat.
Okay, so we have Eamon Yamal. Let's just go to Stifler here. Stifler asks everyone to rate their own looks on a scale of 1 to 10. You cannot pick 7. Rate your own looks, scale of 1 to 10, starting with Ayla.
4.6.
4.6. Is there anything past the 6, like a 333, like repeating, of course?
No, they're probably, but I don't know the number.
You don't? Okay. What, Candace, what about you?
Oh my gosh, I don't want to participate in this game. There's no winning.
It's not a game.
There's no winning this answer.
There is definitely winning. You can win. You can win, Candace. You got to give us something.
I'm not participating.
Throw out a number.
Mm-mm.
So would that infer then?
Because if it's too low,
I say I'm a 3.
Mm-hmm.
That means I lost the game.
Wait, what was the question?
Correct.
I say I'm a 3. That means I lost the game.
Yeah, I guess.
Is that what that would mean? Who did I lose to?
I guess you're breaking the rule.
She's losing to the Whatever podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, this I think does require a little bit of clarification. So I think that a lot of the people who beat up on the Whatever podcast about this question, I think it's kind of silly. So the idea is we're just trying to judge delusion, right? Mm-hmm. So you would probably say beauty's subjective, this type of thing.
Wait,
sure.
I have to do this. I'll let you get right back to it.
Okay, yeah. No,
I need to get the other answers before we get into it. What about you?
Can't pick 7. I'll go 6.
Okay. What about you?
I'm giving myself an 8, especially considering I'm 43.
Go ahead.
Girl. Okay, and you can't pick 7?
Yeah.
I'll go 6.
Okay.
With or without makeup?
Just how about with and without?
It's going to bring out the baby wipes soon.
Yeah.
I do have
I'll
them.
take it off. I don't know. Tonight I'm feeling myself, so I'll give myself an 8.
That's with makeup?
Yeah.
And then without makeup?
Like a 4.
Okay. What about you?
I'll say 6.
My sister's a 10.
Okay. What about you?
We can't pick 7, so I guess 8.
Okay, I give myself a 5. Andrew, what about you?
Well, I mean, there's actually some pretty good honesty on this panel, I think. So I'll actually give you the actual rating. I would give myself about a 4, maybe a 5.
Yeah. Andrew, didn't mean to cut you off there. Andrew, didn't mean to cut you off there. I just wanted to get the answers from the rest of the panel before we...
Yeah, well, this is something you see from feminists often. They want to be very hypercritical of the idea of the rating, right? And they're like, well, it's nebulous. It's like, not really. I think people understand it pretty well. What you're asking is the self-obsessed, or how do I phrase this right? The self-assessment. Mm-hmm. Is the self-assessment mapping onto reality, or isn't it? Right? So when you say...
did a survey on this specifically to see how delusional people are.
Calm down with your surveys. I know, but calm down.
But I know how delusional people are.
Yeah, they are. I mean, it's true, right?
Yeah, about like 2.5 points.
The thing is like, they often actually will lie and know that they're lying if there's a social group around them which reinforces that lie, right? So if there's no judgment going towards them from the people around them, they'll actually lie, often on purpose, because it's reinforced. Now, this is notoriously true of women in a room, but not notoriously true of men. They tend to not really do that because the man next to him will be like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're fat. Or the man next to him will be like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? You got half your face is missing. Or what are you talking about? Your teeth are jacked up, right? They'll instantly look at each other and just beat the holy hell out of each other. They'll be like, dude, you're full of shit. And it's obvious you're full of shit. But for women, they don't actually do that. They'll actually reinforce things they don't believe themselves. So, for instance, let me ask a question to the entire panel just to kind of demonstrate this. Have any of you women, do you agree that when women are around each other, they judge each other all the time, nonstop, that this happens constantly, that women will judge each other on looks, on outfits, on all sorts of different things, on which eyelashes are better, which makeup is better? They don't say it out loud, but you're just judging it in your head. Do you agree that women do this?
Do you not do that with everybody?
Yeah.
I think both men and women do that.
I'm not saying that men and women don't do it.
I try really hard to practice.
Back to the question, do you agree that women do this?
In a form of comparison?
Just like anyone else.
Yeah, okay, great. So can we agree then, by a show of hands, that women do this? Do women judge each other constantly?
Constantly?
Well, I don't know about constantly.
I try to practice not being judgmental. Yeah. It's really hard to do, but it's a
okay, well, let me ask you a different way. Raise your hand if you've ever sat at a table with women and judged them.
Definitely.
Raise your hand. Okay, so that's everybody here, right? Now raise your hand if you sat down at this table and judged any other women.
And judge the women here.
One person.
Yeah. It depends on what you mean by judge.
I know the judgment sounds.
You're judging their looks. Their looks is what I mean. You judge.
Sounds
looks,
negative.
I think it's like a concept in your head that.
So anyway, so real quick, I'll ask again. Now that you know what judgment means in this context.
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't? Okay. So
no, I just want to clarify. Legitimately, I think
judging whether or not their makeup looks good or doesn't look good, or if they should have worn a different outfit or should have worn a different outfit.
See,
et cetera,
no.
et cetera.
I haven't had
No.
those
You're
thoughts.
making a judgment of beauty standards.
No, for me, it would not be judgment. It would be more comparison. It would not be, oh, they should have worn
That's
this.
a judgment.
No,
That's a
there's,
judgment.
yes, it is. You're correct. Comparison is a form of judgment. But what you're talking about is much more harsh of like, ew, like versus like, oh, did they look nicer than I do?
I
or
like that
something
top.
Oh, like, so there's,
Sure. Yeah.
that's
yeah,
all I'm saying. There is some nuance to what you're saying.
Say that you think, okay, well then let me ask it that way. Raise your hand if you sat down at the table and thought that there was a woman at the table who looked better than you. Okay, great. Raise your hand if you sat down at the table and thought there was another woman there who looked worse than you. So wait a second. So then how come it was when I asked if you sat down and judged the other women at the table, none of you showed your fucking hands?
But
That's
you
depends
have
on
like
what I judge.
a
You said
trillion
comparison,
thoughts a day. It's not.
I mean, it's that simple every single time, right?
No, it's not. Like judge means a couple of things. Sometimes there's like a sensation
means
of
a couple
disdain.
things. Okay.
No, listen. Sometimes there's a sensation of disdain, and this is what people refer to when they say the word judge. And sometimes it means like sort of evaluation, like you're checking your position in the hierarchy. And definitely the latter, but not the former. And I just didn't know which one you were talking about.
As well, sometimes I
You
have.
seem a lot less confused now.
Why
Yes,
is it a
because you
woman thing
clarified.
though anyway? Men
That's
do
how it
this
works.
constantly
Yeah.
too, so I guess I'm a little confused as to why this is a female
It's
thing.
not.
you're
It's
pointing
not
out.
whether
Oh,
or not.
what's
it's
your
a
point
woman
then?
thing or-
Who do you
Hang
think
on,
is your
hang
looks
on.
match?
Hang on.
Here.
Chill out. Let me answer one question at a
Everybody's
time.
freaking
Calm
out.
down. So I'll answer hers first, and I'll move to yours. So I asked this question, right? Raise your hand if you judge women. So well, okay. What do you mean by judgment? I clarified that. And he said, well, not all the time. So then I asked this follow-up question. I asked you, well, raise your hand if you judged a woman at the table. You say, none of you raise your hand. Then I say, well, raise your hand if you sat down at the table and thought that another woman who was there was more attractive than you, and you all raised your hand. Therefore, all of you are admitting you made a judgment, so you all fucking lied. Every one of you.
But I also.
Your logic stream isn't very good.
Also, on the way here, I had a thought
I think it's fine. I think it's pretty
It's
good.
not though. It really
Yeah,
isn't.
it is,
Would you like me to
though.
explain how it's not?
I can't wait to hear it.
Okay. Well, basically, you said the word judge, and then it was kind of unclear what you meant. And then I would have raised your hand if you had said the thing that you meant, but you didn't. And then
That's pure cope. So I did.
It
I
isn't.
did actually reiterate what I meant, and I said I was judging based on beauty standards. If you're making your assessment about beauty standards, which you then later admitted you were.
I am very
So the
happy
thing
to
is
admit.
what you're doing now is an even lower tier form of pedantry, because you can rewind the tape and see that I specifically with you specifically clarified exactly what I meant. The rest of the panel heard it, and then that's when I asked the follow-up
You
question.
didn't.
So
You did
nobody
not
was
clarify.
confused.
You said
Not only
words
did
that
I-
were not the
not
thing
only
that
did
you
I
asked later.
clarify, but I was so hyper-specific.
You were not
that when I
hyper-specific.
asked the follow-up question, everybody knew what I meant, including you.
Yeah, the follow-up question was a great specificity. I really like the
And
follow-up
that's
question.
when we found out the two things, didn't we?
If you would like to say that checking yourself in the hierarchy is judgment, I'm very happy to agree that I judge people. I'm not
Great.
I'm not fighting over the word. I just really wanted to understand what you meant.
Yeah, I don't think you were confused about what I meant.
I was. I
And
am reporting that very
we
honestly.
were further able to demonstrate that by me clarifying, and then the second that I
No,
did,
you
to
did
answer
not.
the question the same exact way as every other woman on the panel. It doesn't seem like you.
I think you're being dishonest in the way that you are arguing. I'm very happy to admit your point, but it feels like you sort of want to act like I'm being trapped in some sort of like verbal corner, which I don't think is really what's happening. But I'm happy to say that I judge things
that you
according
don't
to your
think that.
definition.
In my world, though, what we call that is cope, and welcome to cope. That's what you're doing. You're coping. But it's okay for you to cope. Listen, it's all right for you to cope. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's true. I logically navigated you through this. I know it's difficult for you to admit, right? But it is the case.
Yeah.
What I'm showing is that I'm demonstrating that all of you fucking lied to me, and I don't even blame you, right?
Sure.
I understand the reason.
If we expand our definition of lying, then sure.
There's a reason why all of you did that, and
I did
the
not.
reason is because it's very easy for women in social circles. If one woman lies and the rest of them reinforce the lie, for them to continue with the lie. Men seem to be more commonly men seem to call out when men are telling lies, right? They go, no, that's fucking bullshit. Men would be laughing at each other. If let's say a man was sitting in chair one, which is a panel of men, And the man was like, oh, I'm a 10. The other dudes at the table would be like, what the fuck are you talking? They would start ribbing him immediately. Doesn't work the same way with women. That's why
I agree
the
with you.
answers are so bizarre from our view. We're like, what the fuck are they talking about?
I agree that women are significantly more like responsive to social pressure and much more likely to lie to each other about their appearance. I think this is true. It's like kind of weird because like your end goal is something that I don't actually think is that off. It's
I feel like we argue with me to argue. I get it.
I don't think I really like arguing for arguing's sake.
Well, I mean, that's arguing for argument's sake.
Do you know what you're saying? Or are you like an argument LLM?
What's an LLM?
Large language model.
What's a large language model?
A large language model is like a predictive text algorithm, like trained on specific stuff. I would like to give you props to asking. I think some people would sort of disguise when they don't know things, but I think that was like a high integrity move.
I never do. I always want to know exactly what I'm talking about before I talk about it, which just proves your previous.
But I would like to say that I would like to admit when you are good at things and then also say when I think that you are bad, and I think that was a good move, and I'm trying to be consistent according to my principles.
Great. And consistently, I'm really good at what I do. And this has been proven now to you multiple times. You got caught in the trap the same way everybody else did, for the same reason everybody else did.
I did not.
Because you lied. And so because you lied, you got caught in the same trap. That's the way it works.
You have an interesting definition of lying, but if we given your definition of lying, then sure, we can say that we lied.
What do you think my definition of lying is? You haven't even asked.
Okay, could I ask, what is your definition of lying?
Why did you make the claim about whether or not I was lying?
I had an assumption about what you meant.
Not even asking for it before you said that I was.
That was probably an error. Could you tell me what you mean by lying?
Probably was. What's that?
Could you tell me what you mean by lying?
Yeah, sure. Whatever your definition is, we'll go with that.
My definition is like knowing, like having a belief and then saying something contrary to that belief.
Oh, perfect.
Like intentionally.
Yeah, you were lying.
That it does not describe my internal state.
Yeah, no, I think it externally did, because what happened was you got clarification on a question. After you got the clarification on the question, you answered the exact same way that everybody else did, because previously you were asked
that's how it works.
Question that everybody understood, including you. You gave a different answer.
I did not understand it.
You were doing something inconsistent with your internal state.
I was not doing anything. I got clarification on a question and then updated my answer. That seems like pretty good norms to me, pretty good communication norms.
I mean, to me and most regular people, they would just call that a lie, but okay, fair enough.
All right, I have two chats coming in here. We have Jason Cassell, Chair 4, so you would be okay with your daughter selling herself so a bunch of D-gens can get off? Do you even realize how horrible that is and why that makes you a horrible mother? Be a better mother? You're quick. Do you want to respond?
No, I have no response.
Into the mic if you can, but
no, I have no response. I don't feel the need to validate my motherhood to anyone.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Jason. We have Lucas here. The talking point that Andrew only beats up on meek women is patently false. He debated Cenk Uygur on Piers Morgan, infamous atheist, Matt Dillahunty, Dave Smith, Destiny, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, we already established it. I did the bow and everything. And again, I didn't know about your other show until we all did the circle intros. So again, I apologized.
Oh, yeah, it's all good. Thank you, Lucas. Do appreciate the message. All right, let's the rating thing really quick. No, I don't think there were like 10s here, right?
No, none of us said 10.
Maybe like 8s, a couple 8s or something, but okay. And then just one last thing on this. Actually, Candace, you kind of like refused to answer it,
right? Because
like it's stupid, or
I don't like that. You can say attractive or unattractive, right? I'll answer that one, but I think when you do a number,
so binary.
I would prefer that, because and I think Andrew is trying to he keeps hinting that I'm a feminist. I'm really not. Like there's not a bucket I'm gonna go in.
Oh, you know, that's fair. I'm not gonna hint. You are a feminist.
I'm okay. That's fine. I wouldn't.
But I just didn't want you. I didn't want you to think it's being around the bush.
No, that's
or
fine.
Trying to make inferences or implications that weren't there. I'll just flat out say it.
Got it.
You definitely are a feminist.
Okay. Well, that's okay. That's your perspective. putting a number onto it, you're going to have most women that are going to either, like Ayla said, there's going to be a disproportionate amount of people that are delusional and look at themselves like a really high number. But then you're going to also have the ones that are see it as a trap. So they're going to go, I'm going to be modest and go low so that no one thinks I'm egotistical. Like, there's no winning by picking a number, essentially. Like, either like, oh, she picked low because she doesn't want us to know that she's a narcissist, or she picked high, look how delusional she is. It's just not a game I'm interested in.
What if she picked a number that was, if you polled 1,000 people, was fairly commensurate with what those people polled and what she actually
thinks? That could be accurate. And if it was
like, what if she thinks she's a 6, and then a bunch of people, some give her a 7, some give her a 5, a bunch of people give her a 6. I don't know if that would be losing. I mean, if she thinks she's a 6 and nobody's like, oh, okay, oh, you're overrating yourself. Like, we don't like typically, like, it's when a girl who's clearly not a 10 claims 10. Like, otherwise, if like a girl's like ranks herself like 1 point higher, we don't be like, I don't care, whatever.
Well, yeah, and then the feminist nod was like, he was like, beauty is saying that I was going to think that beauty is subjective, and to a point, if you're talking about art or something, sure, but I think when you're talking about a person, there's the golden ratio. People are usually attractive or not attractive across the board, and then there's both ends of the spectrum that'll be exceptions to that rule. But yes, I think that beauty traditionally is objective. So that was just a false.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the reason we asked the question is because I think in the dating marketplace, you need to have a sense of where you stand in it. Like, if you have a house and you think it's worth $5 million, you put it on the market says, this is $1 million, you're not going to sell the house. And I'm not saying that women are houses, it's purely an analogy, but I do think that there is something going on whereby, I mean, if you look at a woman's Instagram, for example, all her friends are gassing her up in the comments. Oh my God, you're so beautiful, blah, 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 blah. You're amazing, slay queen, etc. This woman could be fairly, I'm not saying this to be mean to this hypothetical woman, she could be completely unremarkable, not particularly attractive, she could be just average, right? Women tend to gas each other up. And there's another component here that I think is really interesting, is that like, if I approach a girl and let's say she's just like obviously more physically attractive than me, I'm getting instantly rejected. Like, I don't.
Not with me.
Huh?
Not with me.
Not with. Okay, Lily, chill out, man. But no, if a guy steps to a girl who's just like out of his league, and you can consider league looks, but you can consider other things too. And I think it is other things too.
Especially with men, yeah.
Just looks. But if a guy steps to a girl that's out of his league, instant, like nothing. He doesn't get a conversation. He doesn't get a date. He doesn't get a kiss. He doesn't get sex. The same isn't really true for women, though. If, as a woman, you step to a guy who's outside of your league, whether it's on a dating app, you slide into his DMs, or at a bar or whatever, and you are, in essence, in the same way that men are like enthusiastically wanting to have sex with you, if you as a woman make yourself sexually available to a man, they'll take up that opportunity. Not all men will, but a lot of men will take up an opportunity to have sex with a woman who's enthusiastic and interested. But they'll get rejected on the back end. Men get rejected on the front end. Like I say, if I step to like a 10 out of 10, I ain't getting anything from her. Whereas women, if she's maybe average looking, if she steps to a guy who's 7, 8, 9, she's not going to get every single good guy who's a 7, 8, or 9. She might end up sleeping with 1 or 2 or 3, maybe multiple times. She'll get 1, 2, 3 hookups. Maybe he'll even keep her around in a situationship for 3 to 6 months. She'll never get commitment. Women get rejected on the back end. And so what ends up happening, though, is, I mean, if you have these women who are getting sexual access and they feel like they're so close to getting that relationship with that really attractive guy, oh man, and they keep chasing after him, a couple things happen. One, they are getting that sexual satisfaction with somebody who's out of their league. How are they gonna feel when the guy who's actually willing to give them commitment, they're gonna be less attracted to him? The sex is not gonna be as exciting, or she's not gonna be as immersed in the sexual experience. She's gonna be thinking about like this other really hot dude, or like the 10, 20 other really hot dudes that she had casual sex with that just were unwilling to give her a relationship. And so what ends up happening a couple things end up happening. She has an overestimated sense of her looks because I can sleep with a guy who's an 8 or a 9, ergo I must be an 8 or 9. No, not how it works. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. The W for the woman is commitment. Mm-hmm. Like, that's your league. The guy who's willing to give you commitment. Mm-hmm. Just because a guy's willing to sleep with you one night, if he's a 9, that doesn't make a woman a 9. But so what ends up happening is you got these women, they go out, it's really easy to get sexual access to men who are more attractive than you. We see this all the time with like famous actors, musicians, athletes. They'll like gladly sleep with like a woman who doesn't match up to them in any regard. Like an average woman can, like, maybe not average, but like they can get with an NFL player. We have like 19-year-old college girl who's like just attractive. We've had them on the show. They've hooked up with NFL players, NBA players. Maybe you guys have your own experiences where you've like been DM'd by like famous musicians or athletes or actors. Some of you live in LA. You know, like these men, like you have access to these men. Are they going to give you commitment? Not necessarily. How are you going to go like date Leonardo DiCaprio and then end up with like a normal dude? Like, your brain is totally fried. Like, I don't think, in the same way that if you lived in a luxury apartment and then you're going to go live in a dorm room with 3 other people and share a bathroom, and it's really hard to like have that certain level of treatment or experience when these women are dating really attractive men, and then be like, oh, okay, here's the guy who's actually here's the cohort of men who are actually willing to commit to me, but they don't like, they're not as attractive as the men who are willing to sleep with me. They don't have as much status as these men who are willing to sleep with me. So I do think having a reasonable assessment of your own physical attractiveness would like indicate, is it really a good idea that I go fuck like this rock star and then I'm going to be like completely sexually dissatisfied with like Joe Schmo average guy? Because like most average women are not attracted to average men. That's my position. Maybe you disagree. I don't know.
You've heard women talk about having this experience? You've heard women talk about having this experience, like when they're trying to date, and then
I've had thousands of women who've come on the show and they're like completely average, and they're like, oh yeah, this famous guy's like in my DMs, and like I dated XYZ, I dated an NFL player, I dated an NBA player. Yeah, they have that experience. And
I was just curious about the difficulty finding commitment part.
Well, what I'm saying is like when it comes to female hypergamy, is they can find commitment, but the men, it's like, how often do you hear women say something like, oh, the guy that I like, he doesn't like me, and the guys that like me, I don't like them. Like, those are the guys who are willing to give them commitment. So they can find commitment, they just don't want it with those guys. They're continuously chasing after these men, and from like 18 to 30, they'll be chasing after these men, and like situationship, one night stand, friends with benefits, boom, boom, boom. I'm not saying this is the case for all women. Plenty of women throughout their 20s will be in long-term relationships. But like, this is the experience of a lot of women, and then ultimately when they're 30, they're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get married now, and then they're just totally dissatisfied with the men who are actually willing to commit to them, because they spent like their 20s fucking these like NFL, NBA players and so forth. And I'm using that as an extreme example, but it could just be like the like really attractive guy in your college that all the girls want.
Yeah. I think I was just checking if this was like a specific anecdote that you had, or more like theory, general observation you'd noticed over like extrapolating.
I mean, this is something that I think is observed in the dating marketplace. I mean, the statistics from the dating apps seem to indicate this, that women are overwhelmingly swiping on like the top 10% of men on dating apps.
Yeah, I know. I think this is definitely true. I think I was just curious. I'm trying to figure out how much of a bubble I'm in, basically. So I was just curious, like, if the thing was a general thing, like you have access to the same information I have, or if you're like, yeah, I've been talking to this women and they're like, wow, I was trying to find a relationship when I'm 30, but I fucked all these really incredible guys, and like, why can't I find a man as good as I was fucking?
Well, I mean, do you think that this could be a phenomenon where like once you've experienced a certain level of treatment, or like dated a certain like caliber of guy, it's kind of like hard to be like, and maybe you do end up settling with that other guy, but like in the dark recesses of your mind, you're like still like, oh man, this guy was better in like this dimension. Maybe it's the guy he was really generous, or he was really good in bed, big dick, whatever it is. Like, he's really tall, really good looking, status, he took me on all these trips. And then you start creating an amalgamation of like all the like most amazing characteristics that like 10 different guys who you dated all have. And you're like, okay, I need that in one dude.
Yeah, I think it's a plausible theory. I think there might be some other theories that explain what's going on, but I genuinely really don't know which one's the right one.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to approach like the dating marketplace and everything that's going on.
Yeah.
But
Or like, for example, alternative hypothesis might be like, there's a lot of men that I dated, but I sort of like in hindsight feel like I really should not be dating them anymore, in a way that's possibly, you could argue that I've like downplayed all their good qualities. So maybe we have a psychological phenomenon where we like sort of don't remember how good people were because we're like, fuck those guys or something. I don't know if that's actually what's going on. I'm just giving like something that another theory we could test.
Yeah. Well, can I ask you a question? Like, have you had like, is there one partner in particular you've had who was like the most amazing in bed?
Definitely my current one.
What's that?
My current one, definitely.
Your current one. Okay. Yeah. How about like prior to him? Was there a gap where like you had a really amazing sexual experience with a certain guy, and then like guys after him like did not sexually satisfy you, and because they didn't like meet to that standard or that caliber of the previous men, you were like sexually dissatisfied?
To a minor degree, yes.
Okay.
I mean, mostly I'm kinky, so like I've like had sex with a kinky guy, and then I've had sex with vanilla guys.
Like
so
vanilla guys, right?
I was like, man, I wish I had sex with a kinky guy.
It's not as fulfilling, right? But I mean, you did have that experience, though.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah.
I think it's plausible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like, question, were you, while you were dating these men, maybe not necessarily during sex, were you thinking about like, oh man, this other guy was way better? You're doing comparison.
Not really.
Okay,
just because I'm abnormal, like I don't know if I'm representative. Possibly.
Like I'll give you a personal anecdote.
Yeah.
Like I think this can happen to men too. So, oh my God, I can't believe I'm Andrew, earmuffs. I feel, or I don't know. Never mind. You don't have to do earmuffs. So it's like, okay. In the same way that like women, once you fall on like you're playing Russian roulette, you're like rolling the dice, and then you land on like the dick. You know, it doesn't, like, he's just that good in bed.
Yeah.
You know, this shit. Okay. We got some bi women
Yeah,
here.
I feel like. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm bi. Yeah.
Yeah.
You what?
Look, all pussy is good, but some pussy is better than other. Like, I don't know, like a woman who's like multi-orgasmic, who can come in like 5 seconds, and then she can have like multiples and like come like 20 times in a row, and it's super easy. And then you're gonna like deal with a girl who like you need to fucking jackhammer to like make her come like a quarter of the way to a climax. It's like, okay, that's kind of like you've been accustomed to a woman who can come, and then like that also feels really good, both like physically and psychologically, in terms of the psychological stimulation. So it's kind of like, once you know, it's like, how do you go back to like the woman who's like obviously people are more than just like the sexual experience. There's other components to a relationship. Like, do you get along with them? Are they a good person? Are they pleasant? So it's not just the sex, but I'm just like, within that realm of like sex, it's hard to go from like multi-orgasmic fucking crazy, and then you're gonna date the girl who's like, she doesn't really get that wet, and it's like impossible. It's like super hard to make her come. It's like, fuck.
Are you having this problem right now?
Oh my God. Okay, look, I've encountered a woman who's like incredibly insanely orgasmic, and then I've also like subsequent to that dated a girl who like she couldn't even make herself come, right? Like some women are just, it's hard, really hard for them. So,
but I feel like where a lot of women have this problem.
Just kidding.
No, where a lot of women have this problem where they go from someone that they're, having great sex with and really into and have this great connection with, to like then going maybe downgrading and, having a bit of shit sex. It's because usually they go from, being in a relationship, seeing someone long term, because I feel like as women, we enjoy sex more with a partner the more we have sex with them. Like, it does get a lot better.
Yeah, like
and
they
so
learn.
yeah and so when you go from like seeing someone and being with someone for quite a long-term thing, and then like maybe you're sleeping around a lot, and it's like, oh my God, these fucking guys are fucking shit in bed. It's not because they're shit in bed or you've got a bad connection with them. It's because you've spent so much more like time and effort with the person before.
Yeah,
I agree with you that there's more to like a relationship than strictly just the sex, and absolutely sex can improve and you can work on it and it can be better. But I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I also feel like a lot of the times with just like one-off things, like they don't care about like you, they just care about themselves.
Yeah,
and, like,
and that's why we want the guys that are committed, because they actually don't treat us nice.
Because they'll learn and they'll take the time to like
100%.
Yeah.
Word.